All right, these are the second New Deal programs. So let's just start in. The first one has two names. It's called the Wagner Act, or National Labor Relations Act, or Board. Okay? Now, this is a major one here because unions were there. We talked about that in Commonwealth vs. Hunt. This one actually protects a union's right to organize, to collectively bargain, all these things that are a part of it. So if there's ever a collective bargaining, and if you follow basketball or anything like that, they bring up a thing called the CBA. It stands for Collective Bargaining Agreement. It allows free agents or somebody to go and sign with whoever they wish. I mean, the big thing in 2016 was Kevin Durant going to the Golden State Warriors. What? And why is he allowed to do that? The CBA allowed him to do that, okay? Now, the next program was called the National Youth Administration. This was set up under the Emergency Relief Appropriation Act, and this provided millions of jobs for young people. A lot of times they would be expositions of youth. They would be art things, they would be boxing competitions, they would be sport competitions, they would be kind of track and field, and the whole idea was to show that the youth were really there, and this kind of kept things going along. In fact, one of the big things in here was Joe Frazier was one of these youth boxers, and he was a very, very famous boxer. Famously, he had the Thriller in Manila against Muhammad Ali, who recently passed away. Okay. Next one we have is the Rural Electrification Administration, and they're going to bring running water and light and electricity to these rural parts of the country. Another one of those words that you can't sound smart when you say. Low-cost loans to farmer cooperatives to bring electricity in the communities is what we had. This is probably one of the only posters you can manage to find on the internet of them. It's a good one. Now the next one, you have the old man poster. You also have the old woman poster. This is the Social Security Administration. This established a pension fund for retired persons. It's unemployment insurance. It's public assistance for dependent mothers and their children, and physically disabled. Four big things under this, okay? It's financed by a tax program in 1937, and it continues today as our nation's most expensive thing. Billions of dollars go here, and it's estimated that by the year 2030-something, it will run dry, and they will not be able to pay fully as they should. And a lot of discussions, and there's a big major push to privatize them or whatever, but that's Social Security. Now, the next one we had was the WPA. This is the Works Progress Administration. This is established again under the Emergency Relief Appropriation Act, and it lasted until 1943. Employed millions of people as they built public projects for good. Now, it is also very controversial because under the arts program, they actually gave money to unemployed entertainers first. Why? Why would they give writers and artists and all these people? It is to distract them from what is going on with the Depression, to get their mind off, oh my goodness, life kind of sucks, we need to move on, okay? Now, the next one we had was the Farm Security Administration. This is temporary housing for Okies and Arkies from the Dust Bowl who migrated to California looking for jobs. It's also called the Resettlement Administration. There you have the years of dust and things of that nature. Now, the last bit of New Deal legislation is actually a very important one. If you work outside high school, you have a job, make sure you know where this is. These are your employee rights. This is the Fair Labor Standards Act, okay? It sets up a minimum wage, maximum hours, and also tries to curb the use of child labor. If your job does not have this posted, it's actually a fairly hefty fine, all right? I know it seems like a lot, but that was our New Deal programs. All right, make sure you take the quiz. The quiz here is actual not multiple choice, matching. So fill them in here on your page. Go and study that for a second. Take that quiz. Make sure you got them. We'll try to hit the ones in class that you don't necessarily get the best, okay?